So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think there are more words you can use to, I don't know, what do we add to this day? Twende nyumbani? No. What are you still waiting for? Me? Yes. Okay. So I'll talk to you, but not for too long. I also want to tell you that there is some very good stuff waiting for you outside. I know in the morning you're only given tea, but no snacks, right? So all those snacks have been lapped up for after this. So we are going to have some swallowship, and we're going to have a lot of networking. Tuko pamoja? Now let me tell you something. When I was thinking about today, a lot of ideas went through my mind. And as George has told us, in this world, we don't lack ideas. In fact, he told you in a day, in an hour, you run about 500 ideas. A guy called Robin Sharma says, actually, on any typical day, the human mind runs between 60,000 to 70,000 ideas or thoughts. Thank you. But then, you may wonder, if you are running 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and we've been told that ideas are what bring about money, how come we don't have money? Na sijasema hamna. 60,000. If you converted that, every idea is just a bob. It means every day you are supposed to have at least 60,000, isn't it? 60,000 times 30 is 1.8 million. Meaning if you converted your 60,000 thoughts, nobody here should be going home less 1.8 million a day. And I'm just calculating a base rate of above an idea. Let me ask, please don't feel shy. How many of us are taking home 1.8 million per month? Okay, don't raise your hand. Let me tell you why I'm challenging you. The same Robin Sharma says, the trouble with human beings is that 90% of those thoughts are negative and recycled. So they can't be converted to money because you wake up, you're thinking, na vile George wa shule alitoka hapo, mimi hakuni baba. Story gani hizo alikuwa anatoa? Unafikiria na huyu kocha alikuwa anafikiria nini akituleta Kenya School of Government? Na huyo Damaris anasema, unajua, what was you saying? Now, if you are thinking that way, that you focus a lot on other people, you focus a lot on what we've been told, negativity, there is no way you're going to turn your ideas into money. Are we together?
Yes.
But perhaps Einstein put it in a way that should send you home thinking even more deeply. He said, the trouble we have with people is that only 5% think, 10% think they are thinking, 85% would rather die than think. Sasa unaweza uliza mwenzako, which percentage are you in? Are you a thinker? Are you a thinker? Or are you a person who would rather die than think? And I can tell you those categories so that you start identifying them. The thinkers focus on solutions. You bring them a problem, they see solutions. They are ready to work their way out of any situation, overcoming challenges in business. Mtu anapoteza 200 million. Hakai hapo, akiangalia kila mtu anapita na mwambia, you know, the reason me I'm in the street, I used to have a very big company called Optivate, but now I lost 200 million, I'm a beggar. Please, kama uko na kakitu, can you imagine seeing George Washuri in the street, akiuliza kakitu? Have we not seen such things?
Yes.
Tumeona? So ukiona mtu alikuwa anaonekana kama anaenda pahali, then all of a sudden, everything down, that's not a thinker. Kichwa imerana. The second category, the ones who think they are thinking. Utamuona anakaa unafikira sana. Unamuuliza, what are you doing? Amos, I'm thinking. What about? I don't know. So are you thinking? And the last category, which constitutes or comprises majority of people in the world, 85%, that's a huge percentage. You give them an idea, not an idea, let's say a challenge. Ofisi kwanza. Anakuambia pana hii pelekea Orongo. Hiyo ni ya Orongo, nisu niulize. Yaani hata hataki kujua kama anaweza. Anasema hiyo si yangu. Hiyo pelekea. Si ulisikia yule mtu wa China? Sasa unaniuliza maneno ya China, tupelekee yeye. Unauliza maneno ya sauce. Si kuna mtu alikuwa pale anaitwa Ken tomato sauce. Mimi uliona mimi nikitengeneza sauce. You can't even imagine that could be a challenge which opens for you a business. True or false? True. Ambia mtu hii kongosi titumia. Kongosi titumia. Why I am so passionate about personal development is because I came to realize a very fundamental truth. We talk about buying assets, and it's okay. But before you can buy other assets, remember this. The most important asset you have is yourself. And in fact, if you can work on yourself and become that very valuable asset, you don't even have to worry about the other assets because you become a magnet, you start attracting. You are a living magnet. And in personal branding, I always tell people, George talked about branding. It's one of the solutions on how to overcome challenges in entrepreneurship. That you are a walking, talking billboard. You are a walking, talking billboard. That means you are an advertisement. When you walk, what do people see? Hallelujah. Do they see? You know, there are two ways you can come across to people. You can come across as a warning or a good example. So when you're walking around, are you a warning or are you an example? If you want to attract people, what would you rather be? A warning or a good example? So are you a good example? That's a challenge I want to throw to you. The other thing is when you speak. When you speak, what do people hear? Are you a merchant of hope or a prophet of doom? Because there are people, when you meet them, their word just spell doom. Unaweza kutana na mtu Orongo, which one? Let's say just Orengo, it's better, it's easier. Bwana Orengo. Aje akwambia anauza plot ya Optivate. Hello? Ukiangalia kiatu, sikuona kiatu yako, tutaangalia baadaye. Sasa unashuhudia ananiuzia plot ya milioni 10. Shida ni wapi? Na siku hizi unaweza ingia hata huko Sunshine Boutique. You get things that look like $10 million. True or not? So you have no excuse of why you are not looking good. Because even with 1,000 bob, you can go to Nikoba and come out looking like a CEO. And by the way, do you know? Yes, I've introduced CEOs here. But you are already a CEO. In fact, let me promote you even further. You are a president. You are a president and CEO of your life. Before you call other people your excellency, just know you are. Then start behaving the part. And stop being a prophet of doom. Speak hope. You are a merchant hope. And that's what leadership is. Even when things are very difficult, don't speak doom. Speak hope. My mother, she passed on. George, mothers are powerful. When she was alive, when we were growing up, and it's something I've written in my book, there are times we didn't have food. And she used to be a potter. And I remember this one day she went to sell pots so that we could have food. And we hadn't eaten the previous day. And she came home, we thought, oh, we're gonna eat, finally. She looked a little fallen, but I thought maybe ni kuchoka. Maria alienda akachukua pot, akaenda akaweka maji, akawasha moto, akaanza kufuruta hiyo moto. Maji inachemka, sisi tunafikiria sasa tutaiba haleluya. Kumbe she knew there was nothing, but she was very, very crafty and she was a merchant of hope. And to pair Bible stories, mpaka tukalala. And that's the day I knew spiritual food is real. Ukikula hii ingine mkumbukake spiritual. People think I am a motivational speaker. I am nothing compared to that woman. Motivating hungry people mpaka walale is not easy. Halafu asubuhi ameamka ameenda kwa neighbors sijui alifanya miracle gani ya wamama, at least kulikuwa na uji. Anyway, that's not what I came to speak here about. That was by the way. I want to take only 15 minutes to do what I want to do, and then we finish this session. Is that okay? Yes. The number one thing I want to speak about is transformation. Is what? I told you in the morning there are 5 things that you should actually undergo today. Who remembers? The first one, I said you should be informed. Did I say that?
Yes.
Have you gotten a lot of information?
Yes.
Including Black Friday?
Yes.
And many other things?
Yes.
Ende mukienda Mombasa, Almarisa, kuna cafe hapo na sijai ingia lakini nimekula chakula yake in the seminars. Ni ya Madam Clarice. I also said you'll be educated. Do you remember?
Yes.
To be educated is to know something you did know that elevates you to another level. Sindio?
Yes.
Umejua mambo mengi sana. Like overcoming challenges in business, that was class 101. Yes. Number 3, I said you'll be entertained. Have you had fun?
Yes.
People have done good presentations. Sindio?
Yes.
What? Number 4, I said you'll be
Inspired.
Have you been inspired?
Yes.
What does inspiration mean? It simply means speaking life into. When people speak life into you, they have inspired you. If you came here feeling downtrodden, you came here feeling stressed, but now you're feeling energetic, you're feeling like you can go to the moon and back by tomorrow morning. How many are feeling like that? You're inspired. And the last thing I say, you need to make sure whatever goes on here transforms you. Now, when I talk about transformation, I am reminded of words like transatlantic, trans-Africa, trans whatever. What does the word trans mean? It means across. So, when you're talking about transatlantic, you're talking about going across there. Trans-Africa is crossing the continent of, and today we are doing trans-global. When you talk about across, it simply signifies that there is movement from one point to another. Now listen, when you talk about you and transformation, we should see a shift from where you were to where you are, and finally to where you want to be. And this is a journey that's continuous. It's not going to end because you have finished this seminar. Now, do you know how you know a person is transformed? It is by the problems they are solving. If you are transformed, you can't be solving the same problems next year but one. If you see a person who is still talking about buying a pair of shoes and he has been working for 10 years, huyo mtu ni wale Kibaki angekasirika waite bure kabisa. Naongeze ingine ya kuku. So transformation happens when there is a shift. That the problems you are now dealing with are different. That you are not talking about 1 million shillings. You are talking not even at looking for 200, paying 200. Kwa watu wanaona kama elder wa church amewadanganya. I really love that story, George. And I'm going to buy that book just because I need to even have it in my heart, ingrained there. You know, when you get transformed, even prayer items change. You can't be praying to God about the same thing forever. Hannah was praying for a child. When she got the child, do you think the prayer did not change? It definitely changed. So the question I want to ask you is, what is it that you've been working towards? How long have you been there? Because it is time to shift. It is time to go to another level. But the question then becomes, how do we go there? And that's what I want to talk about, and I conclude my talk. There are many things I would want to share. How do we become transformed? First of all, you must know, where are you? Where? Please write down, where am I? Where am I? In terms of life, in terms of relationships, in terms of money, in terms of health, in terms of my mental wellness, in terms of my career, in terms of my spirituality. Where are you? When you come through Born to Lead, I always tell you there are 6 pillars that you need to really look. That is critical. So ask yourself, where are you? Because without God, you are nothing. I like telling my students that one day we were going to South Africa. And seated next to me, I was seated on these 3 seats. I was on the one at the aisle. They were inside towards the window. There were these 2 guys. And they were seriously talking about how there is no God. And I'm looking at them and wondering, kwani niliwepo pamoja na mawaziri gani? Are we in Mathare or in a plane to Johannesburg? Now wait, we get up there, 40,000 feet above sea level, and the captain comes on there. There was no prayer warning, and he says, guys, buckle up. We are about to experience a very severe turbulence, and we had no prayer warning. So please, and if you're walking to the loops, go back to your seat. And he put off the intercom. It did not even take a minute. The turbulence was so bad, some people were retching, literally, almost puking. Guess what? These two guys who were seated next to me were the first ones to say, oh my God. I said, there's no God. And that just told me there is no atheist in a foxhole. When people are faced with trouble, they remember they didn't build themselves, they didn't create themselves. There's a God. Now the question is, how do you relate with your God? And you know, when you know how to relate with God, something else happens. You know how to relate with people well. You set boundaries. You set value systems. You know, you have a sense of good and a sense of wrong. You cannot do good business. You cannot thrive if you don't have that. Tumekubaliana? And at the end of the day, even if you may be having money, deep down you're hollow, you're empty. And if you're going to achieve any success in this world, it's a peace of mind that cannot be bought with money. Number two, the health things. Lena took us through what we need to be doing with our health. So that's a pillar you need to lead. Are we together? So you ask yourself, where are you? And I give an assignment to my students always. Enda ufanye a comprehensive medical check. Na kwanza kitu moja na waambia waangalie. Enda uambiwe, what is your metabolic age? You know, like Orongo told us that he's been certified to be 22, and I really love that. Do you know you can go and be checked? And then you are told your chronological, your biological age is 30, but your organs are showing you are 60 years. You are a walking dead. True? So can you check where you are so that you start working towards where you should be? Yes. The best report from a doctor will be, you are 57 years old, but you're operating like a 42. Okay. I was told that the other day. I'm actually 57, and I was so happy. You're like do I look older or younger? Unadanganya manisema kweli. Because I do a lot of hiking. And these days, my wife can tell you, ikifika masaa mengine hata sapa, namwambia bana, you wachana nayo. You wacha nikunywe kachai kangu, nikalale. Start it. Because at my age, I don't need food at night. I'm not growing. Yeah. So your health, then your relationships. I'm just mentioning these things. Where are you in terms of your relationships? Do you have only quality people, or you have people who are always doing what we were told by Professor? BMW. Do you remember BMW? Yes. What was B? Blaming. What was M? Mourning. What was W? Whining. The blamers, the mourners, and the whiners. If that's a company you keep, guess what's going to happen? You are going to become BMW Nasigani. You'll be a blamer, you'll be a mourner, you'll be a whiner. What about if you meet people who are telling you, I opened a restaurant in Kitengela, I employed 200 people. I opened another one in Karen, I employed 50. What do you think is likely to happen to you if you put such company? What about when you listen to stories like, you know what, Cooperative Bank started doing with 300 farmers? That was a circle. That's a circle. And now, what's the membership? 5,000. And who is the chairman? He's sitting here. Is this not a gentleman you want to know?
Oh, yes.
What about when you hear somebody telling you that hata alikuwa anatafuta kazi ya model, na kwa sababu alikuwa anakulanisha vitu, akaambiwa wewe out neja, beshaja, but now, does it still look like she's gone back?
Oh, yes.
This story, somebody loses her husband at a very young age. She decides, I'm not going to throw pity parties. I'm going to transform my life and become an inspiration for others. And here she is, coming all the way from Mombasa by flight, not even SGR. Wow. And staying in Karen, not in Changemaker. Nothing wrong with Changemaker. I'm just saying, are you not inspired? Yes. And she's moving, starting global women impact. And she forgot to tell you that out of all that pain, one day we meet and I tell her, you know what? You should never waste your pain. Pain is an asset. Pain is gold. Yes. Convert your pain into gain. Now she has a book called Wings of
Hope.
We launched it the other day. And I've gone to Mombasa twice. The first time I told her, I felt like a father who had gone to witness his daughter graduate. Wow. That's when she was launching the Blowing. But this time she had the summit. I told her, now I feel even older. So number one, know where you are. That's what I'm saying. And then you start working towards where you want to be. Are we together? Self-awareness. Do your audit. If it's about money, know how much money do you have? How much money would you want to have? What would you want to do with that money? Before I became transformed, Dr. George, you know me as an architect.
Yes.
And there are times I've made a lot of money. I tell people here, but I was very useless. Because my money had no mpango. Unajua ile unachukua pesa unaenda club. Watu wanakuona umeweka pesa kwa mfuko ya nyuma, imefiba hivi. Wakikuangalia wakuuliza unawaambia by the way, ile tihoha. This is not a boy. Kama kuna kitu nataka kujua, alafu sasa hiyo unaenda kwa bibi yako saa 9 ya usiku. Are you normal? You need to ask you, and you know when you behave like that, that money has a way of disappearing. So I thank God that I got transformed right at the right time. You know, Mungu anapenda watu. Ukimkubali, He transforms you. Even as we talk about transformation, the best transformation is God-based transformation. Because if you are on the side of God and you are taking care of God's business, He takes care of your business. Hallelujah. Amen. So look at your money. Where are you? Are you happy? Look at your mind. Are you okay? I never used to read a lot. These days I read a book per week and make sure. Let me tell you, all the solutions you want in this world, they're in books. They're hidden there. Create that habit, and you will transform your way of thinking. Think about your work. If you're not doing work that you love, please, you are in an abusive relationship. Get a divorce, start looking for that right relationship. Work that you love. So, where are you? Where would you want to be? Then we go to the next one. How are you going to get there? How are you going to get? Listen, one of the things I'm very keen on is asking people, you're working for Optiven. Allow me to use your company.
Not for.
Orongo, you work for Optiven. No, you. Okay, you work with Optiven. Optiven has a strategic plan. True or not? True. And I'm sure it's written.
Yes.
Where as Orongo,
yes.
Do you have a strategic plan for Orongo's life written down? Exactly. Not in your head, written down. And you know why? If it's not on paper, it is what? If it's not on paper, it's vapor. Hii maneno ukiambia nitafanya, nitatenga, do them, write them down, so that you can hold yourself to account, so that you can review them. Are we together? Yes. Transformation starts happening once you put down things, solid things, because those are the only things you can hold yourself to account for. Anything that's not written, forget it. Hiyo ni vapor. Inaenda tu. Utakuwa unasema lakini nilikuwa na idea na mwingine ameifanya. What did you do with it when you had it? You didn't even put it down anywhere. Number 3. Nimemwambia kwanza ni kujijua, kujielewa mahali uko. Number 3, tumeenda ya pili hiyo tukasema uandike. Yes, number 3. You got to start getting very uncomfortable. If you want to move to the next level, start getting uncomfortable with where you are. Change only happens when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Are you uncomfortable with where you are? Because discomfort is the genesis of change. If you are not uncomfortable, ukipata yako giri 10 you are okay, you find wacha tusherehekee hii, tuende sherehe iishe. Vile George alikuwa na dance ndio unaenda una dance mpaka iishe. Because there are people who say it is either the money gets finished or I get finished. And since you are seeing them around, they are not finished. What got finished? The money. It's not until you get very uncomfortable that now you want to have money, that you want to plan for your money, that change will happen. Number 4, it matters not what strategic plans you have. It matters not how uncomfortable you are. It is only important, or it only matters when you start acting, when you start doing. Transformation is not in the idea level. Transformation is not even in the prayer level. Somebody said that prayer is not even the catalyst. There are people who pray in church all times. I know we have youngsters, but let me say this. As a woman, if you want a child, and you're always praying for a child, but you don't do what people do to get a child, you never get a child. You will never. True or not? And that is just a figure of speaking. Whatever it is you want, compare it to a child. Then you have to go and do what you are supposed to do in order to get that. So usiwe unasema tu kila wakati Mungu fanya, Mungu fanya. Mungu does not fanya. He tells us, I bless the work of your hands. You must work. In fact, the only place that success comes before work, they say, is in the dictionary. Check it out. You see that. In real life, however, work must come before success. Are you together? Work. Then I'm going to tell you the last two things, then I conclude my thing. So number 5. In everything you're doing, you must have an unwavering faith in 2 entities. 1, in God. 2, in yourself. Because God has already put everything you need. Everything. You are complete. Hakuna kitu huna uko complete. Say with me. Oh, thank you very much. You are self-contained. I'll prove to you. Are there people who are extremely successful who are not able-bodied?
Yes.
You know many?
Yes.
Do you know in 2022, I was lucky to host the one and only Nick Vujiki. A story I love sharing. He came to visit a school as chairman. And when he came there, I looked at this guy. I was like, wait a minute. The bodyguards, everything he had was oozing wealth. But even with all that, he was a humble, simple guy. And then he shares his story of how when he was born, his mother didn't even want to see him. She got what you call postpartum depression. And with that, got finished and the board was established. But they took him to an able-bodied kids' schools where kids were mocking him, looking at him and wondering, Sasa, who you? You can imagine, if you don't have legs, you don't have hands, na umepelekwa shule ya watoto wazima, Gen Zs. Okay, sorry, Gen Zs. Simple. So they were mocking him. What happened to him? He became very depressed. And he decided life was not worth living. So he decided to commit suicide. He attempted 3 times, it didn't work. On the third time, he was actually saved by the nanny. And the nanny sat him down and asked him, Nick, why is it you want to commit suicide? And he said, you know, God created me like this, like that. I am not like everybody else. Life is not worth living. And that nanny asked him, Nick, have you ever looked at yourself and wondered what you may be having that those kids you're comparing yourself to don't have? And that right there taught me something. A lot of our problems are self-imposed. Because we focus a lot on what we don't have. And yet we don't ask ourselves all these important questions. What have we done with what we have? God has entrusted you with something. What have you done with it? Because if you can be faithful with that little God has given you, that's the way He's going to entrust you with a lot. So Nick discovered, number 1 thing he has that is amazing is compassion. He has a very compassionate nature. Number 2 thing is his voice. Yes, I teach my students that you can turn your voice into an invoice. I'm a living testimony of that. Can I shock you? When I was just an architect, the highest amount of money I was ever paid to go to a site, and that was in Nakuru from Vika, and I was driving a Gazela, was 20,000. That Gazela took 8. If you put wear and tear, and you put lunch, maybe I took home 5,000. Yes. Ati nimefanya kazi. These days, they invite me to go and talk in corporate events, and sometimes I see a check of 150,000, and I've spoken for an hour. Hallelujah. Amen. Is that not the voice becoming an invoice? Yes. Those who come to Born to Lead, mshaikuona niko na jembe? Si mimi nikuongea tu na mnalipa fees. Nikuwa tu nimekaa kwangu. Yes. tafadhali msitoroke, leteni wengi. So why can't you learn how to use that voice? So Nick put that voice into good use, and then his mind, very sharp. He's got very good writing skills. Do you know something? Nick has written like 30 books. And majority of them have at one time or another been listed as bestsellers globally, not as I leave the Nick story. When I started doing public speaking, I was comparing myself with the market. I wanted to know, I want to become a public speaker. Who are the players and at what level are they playing? I did the locals, I did international. There are guys like Donald Trump, when he gives a talk, 1 hour he's paid right now $2 million. I hear Barack has reached 1.2. It's a lot of money, 1 hour. Dollars, not shillings. Then I checked Nick at that time. This was 2016. Nick was booked for 4 years in a row, Monday to Friday. And the minimum number of hours he was booked was 4 hours that time. It was hard to get him. 2016 to 2020, very difficult. And Nick wasn't earning those millions, but he was earning $15,000 an hour. So for 4 hours, that's 60,000. How much is that in Kenya money? I want you to do quick math. I want you to transform yourself. Say about 8 million at the current exchange rate, isn't it? In a week, isn't it? So multiply by 4, the number of, so he's earning about 32 million. Without hands, without legs, he says no worries, because he's complete as he is. Hallelujah. He stopped whining. He stopped complaining. He stopped focusing on what he doesn't have. He's focused on what he has. And then I read a book that says each one of us listening to me, you've been given a minimum of 550 gifts. And the same author said, the problem is many people live and die without exploiting even one fully. You have gifts. You know, even guys use their signatures to forge, and when you look at it, you can't tell that it's not the original. That's a gift only being misused. You're supposed to use it the right way. Are we together? Yes. So what gifts are you not using? Because that is where your transformation is going to happen. Do you know that guy Nick Vujicic, without hands, without legs, has married a former Miss World, a very pretty woman, able-bodied, not disabled. And yet there are guys in Kenya who call themselves tall, dark, and handsome. They can't convince a girl from Jamaica. What is wrong with this picture? That is why Romans 12:2 tells us, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, so that you can taste of the good will, or of the will of God, the good, perfect will. God has perfect will for us, but we need to renew our minds. We need to start thinking. You need to transform yourself from the other percentages to the top 5%. Is somebody feeling like they want to transform?
Yes.
So Born to Lead has been a journey. We started, as Coach Frank said, as a WhatsApp group. And that's something I want to mention. This WhatsApp group was a requirement by our coach. A requirement I always give my students, and a lot of them refuse to do it. And the reason is, you don't know what can happen. We always ask ourselves, what if it doesn't work? What if? I used to be shy. I couldn't imagine telling somebody, I want you to join my WhatsApp group to do what? I resisted until one day, that same coach gave me an opportunity to cut in race for him in an event. And when I cut in race, we got a break before he came on board to speak. And the break was to meet and greet. And somebody came to me and said, Steve, you're the first person whose contacts I wanted. I said, why? You spoke so well. Do you have a platform where you share these leadership issues you're talking about? I said, no. Why don't you start one? Even a WhatsApp group. I said, wait a minute. And that's what the coach has been asking us to do. And from that day, I got inspired to start. That person was the first one to sign up. She was called Regina Ray, or she's still there. Regina Ray, whom I had seen on TV. If somebody like that was noticing something, I say, no, I have to do it. Within a short time, it had 256 members. Because of time, let me just tell you. That now has been transformed from a WhatsApp group to a school of personal development, to now hiking groups, to leadership summits like this, and we are about to get into the next level of investments. Wow. There's something as I was discussing with Chairman that he mentioned to me, that you need like 20 people to endorse something like this. Of course, I've been working behind the scenes, but I said I'm not going to use what we are doing behind the scenes. While we may not do the technical things here, I just want to ask from the alumni so that the chairman can see, because we're going to get to him, we go to the registration and all that. How many here would want that movement to start, the investment group? Chairman, do they constitute 20? There are more. So if that is a show of faith and confidence in that club, I want to say, despite the fact that there are technical issues to be done, and we will have an online meeting to now just say what we've done so that we can move, I want to declare that today we are officially launching the Born to Lead Investment Cooperative. Action. You have to act. The last thing, the Leadership Summit, which we inaugurated in the morning, is going to be an annual thing. So we're going to be doing it every year. After consultations, I was told November is a bit tricky because of rains. I didn't even know it was going to rain like this today. So we did agree with my consultation team that maybe the best month would be June. Also, they said November, holiday, many people want to be their kids. So we will be doing it in June. By June next year, we are not going to have something like this. So start preparing your money. We are going for a Nile cruise for our annual summit. And by then, my hope is we will have built capital to a level where we can go to Optimed and say, shamba iko wapi? Na hatutaki ploti, tunataka shamba. So that everybody here can build a house there for holidays, where there is no advantage. So that's the thinking. As soon as we do this, and it will be done in the next 2 weeks, Chairman, we are going to start putting money. And then there is something I've been working on. It's been behind the scenes, but we've done pilot projects on affordable housing. Not the government way, through using appropriate technology and raw materials that many people disregard, which you can collect at almost no fees. The only cost will be the transportation to where you're doing it. And once you do what you're doing with them, you can build houses at 30% less the market rate. Now that's something that will benefit all of us, because even if you do it at 30%, if you're going to sell it, nobody will say, because you built it at 30%, you see 30%. They don't even know. They'll come and see it and it looks so beautiful, they're ready to pay what is even in the market. So you can make a lot of money, isn't it? But that is something I would want to do with the group. So we need to agree, because I don't want to do what other people have done. I know people have come up with investment things and they have swindled people. So I'm very careful to make this not a Steve Moiro idea or agenda, but a Born to Lead agenda, where you members will even get people to run it. I will chair it for a while just to guide, but eventually I want to divorce myself, because this vehicle is not going to be my vehicle. It's going to be our. Okay, say it together. Our vehicle. Is that good? Yes. So as I conclude, let me just say that it's been a very, very, very good and successful inaugural summit. I cannot just begin to tell you how proud I am of all of you for coming. This to me is a show of love, it's a show of belief in what we are doing, and it's a show of commitment. I know you've spent your money, you spent your time. I mean, how can I thank you? I wish I could hug all of you, but since I can't, please hug yourself. And that's from Coach Steve. Unajisikia vizuri? Na walopotovu. Sana tena.